Hey guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe to get a great discussion on gaming and all that surrounded. Now, on to today's topic. Hey guys, I found this interesting article relating to Panic Button. That's the studio who's making the games or help port the games to Nintendo Switch and other platforms. They had an AMA today on Reddit, and that's the Ask Me Anything, or rather they just answer any kind of questions uh, uh, during a certain amount of time on Reddit. And so I found it pretty interesting because they did talk a little bit about the development. From what I got from them is that they're actually a pretty cool development team. I like the dedication from what I can get from reading their answers and whatnot. But they seem like a pretty cool developer, and I kind of gained some respect because after looking at the list of games that they've gotten out, kind of the dedication they put towards the games. Time they spent, also the quality of games too, as well as the amount of time they've put these games out. It comes off it comes off pretty respectable. Now I did get a few quotes here that I thought were pretty interesting from the AMA. And I'm going to try and read it off to you guys. And it got me thinking about what the studio's about and what they have in the future. And so a couple of notes I have here is that the studio was considering is considering original IPs for the Switch. I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know. I just see them as kind of a porting studio, so I don't know what they could really do. I don't know their track record. I didn't get to do much research on what they've made originally themselves, but that seems pretty cool. I mean, they know the hardware, so I think that would be a pretty good. They could be a pretty good fit for them to make a Switch game. And of course, they've made ports to other systems too. But they know hardware. And this kind of reminds me of what's that studio? The studio that made Fast Racing Neo for not only the Switch but the Wii U too. And they're a second party. I know they make mainly for Nintendo, but they have made games for other systems too. And they knew their hardware too. So I find find them kind of similar in a way. But studios that know how to use their hardware, know in and out, that's a good sign. Another quote here is that the goal is to close the time gap between releases on the original platforms and the ports. That's they've done a pretty good job on that as well. This leading into that is this: all the studio's Switch ports have taken less than a year to complete, which is good. That's pretty good port time. If you guys remember, this is when Sony was showing off the PS4 for the first time, and we're getting closer to release, I believe. They were talking about port times between the systems. I believe between the PS2 and the PS3 and PS4, and the PS4 is dramatically quicker than the other two systems, especially PS3, I believe, which would take months upon months. So this is a good sign. I'm guessing it's about 10 months, maybe 8, to port these games over, and so that's a good sign, meaning that the Switch is definitely a lot easier to port over to than definitely the Wii U or anything. Seems like Nintendo put a lot of time into making this like the system that's real easy to port over to, get those games out as soon as possible. And we're kind of seeing that because there's a huge influx of games coming. I did report on there being 20 to 30 games coming out. There's we don't know what's coming out next couple months. Nintendo is trying to release their games as fast as possible. Also, there's a rumor going around that there might be a Nintendo Direct this month. I'm kind of shaky on that, but these are good signs. Another quote here. Let me go back to the quotes here. The relationship with Nintendo is, as quote, so great. They are amazing and supportive and sharp and aspirational. It's pretty aspiring. Creighton is glad to make games for their hardware. So a good relationship with the actual hardware manufacturer is always a good sign too. But Nintendo, in their case, I think Nintendo was the most conservative out of the big three hardware manufacturers, and this is a good sign. You know, Nintendo's always been really conservative, but this time I think they're actually reaching out to talk with these developers and get some kind of sense of what to do with their system and how to help port games over to them. And they even said in this article, this is a DualShocker article, by the way, that they're always getting out new tools. I know specifically for Panic Button, but this could be for other systems too. And I'm kind of hoping for that Resident Evil 2 remake on the Switch. It could happen, but we have to wait and see. Another quote is, the hardest thing about the job for Boggs, and this is one of the developers, is having to churn down projects. The studio can only work on so many things, and that's a good sign too. That also means more games coming over to the Switch. What else do we have here? The goal is to close the gap. Yes, I already read that. Lastly here, they asked whether it was asked whether there will be more games in the studio in the fall, and Creighton responded, "We're not talking unannounced stuff or timing, but yes, it would make sense that there would be more coming from us." So another good sign. This whole AMA was good, because there's nothing but good news coming from this developer. And so that could allude to more Switch titles. It could also allude to more more games in general, which is a good thing. But this studio seems to be doing really good, making good profit off of the supporting gig, and just in general, they've been getting a lot of stuff, and it's probably coming from Nintendo. I think Nintendo has realized in the past that they need more people working on their systems. They can't do it by themselves, and even though they do have a good job of getting out first party titles. So in terms of this whole thing with Panic Button, expect more from them. Like, they've been in the news a lot lately. Expect a lot more in the upcoming months. This whole Warframe thing was a surprise. We're getting more mature titles: Doom, Wolfenstein, Warframe, other stuff. These are good, but that's all I really have for this time now. I think this is a pretty good article. This is a pretty good news. You don't see too many good news in the gaming industry. It's either bad news, controversial news. This is just all around good news and good for everyone. They're still making games for other systems as well. So this is just great. They're doing really good. I will hope them the best. All right, guys. I'll see you later, and have a good day. Bye.